Hi, Stacy Roach here. Welcome to the Power Blog. Today I want to talk about, oh wait, hold on one sec. Okay, that's much better. So this is the video blog, and I'm excited to start a new video blog. I was inspired to start it, in part because of the acquisition of ACT by SwiftPage. We're really excited about this acquisition. Sage was a great company, but for a lot of reasons we think SwiftPage is a much better fit. One of the things that I'm excited about is the new brand. So shortly you'll be seeing from me, it won't be SwiftPage ACT. They're dropping the company name. It'll just be ACT again, which is what it was for, I don't know, 15 years of the product, maybe 20. So really looking forward to the new branding. I saw a sneak peek of the logo and it looks great. So you'll see that rolling out shortly. So we're going to be doing these video blogs, even though I'm really uncomfortable. So we're going to be doing these video blogs from time to time just to bring you up to date on different things and offer some tips and tricks. Some ACT specific and some just in general for your business and sales and marketing. We always like to end our power blogs with a useful ACT tip, something that you can use in your day in, day out usage of the ACT product. Today's one is very important and often overlooked, and that is making sure you have a backup of your database. And the reason why that's today's tip is because twice in the last week I've had to work with clients of mine to recover data that they've lost. That means users deleted it. And in one case they had a backup of their database, so I was able to restore a backup from before the deletion and re-import all those contacts and all the history. And in the other case, unfortunately, their ACT backup was not working and they weren't able to retrieve those lost contacts. So this tip is going to be all about how to manage backups for your ACT database. Today's power tip is on backing up your database. It's sort of like flossing your teeth. Something that you know you should do, but you just don't do it often enough. Many times we have clients that think that they don't need to make backups because their system backup is running. Their IT person or someone in their organization has set up some kind of IT backup, which is great, but sometimes when someone's left logged into ACT, it doesn't actually make a full backup of the ACT database. And you should always make a backup before doing anything like an import or customizing anything. If you add custom fields or design a custom layout, or do any database cleanup especially. That way, you'll be able to have a backup that you can restore if something goes wrong, particularly in the database cleanup if you inadvertently delete some contacts you didn't want to delete. The other reason to use the ACT backups is because ACT actually makes its own little backup folder and file rather, and it's a zip file, and it puts any attachments, any custom layouts, queries you may have written and saved, and all your custom templates, and it merges them into a single zip file, and it's all bundled together so that when you restore it, you're able to get your whole data set back. And here's a pro tip for you. I recommend doing a test restore of your backups that you're making regularly, just to make sure you can recover all your data and customizations. I would think every month or so. It's one of the things that we always do when we work with clients is we make sure that their backups are running correctly, but we also do a test restore to make sure we can accurately restore all the database customizations and make sure that all the data is recovered. So let's first start with making a manual backup, and then I'll show you a way to automate the backups. In ACT, and you must be either an admin or manager level user in ACT, from the File pull-down menu, choose Backup and then Database. Then you're able to choose the location where you want to store your backup. So you can click the Browse button. One little recommendation here that I like to point out is that you can actually save this to a folder that you back up to the cloud, like for example Dropbox. If you have a Dropbox account, you can save your backup there and it'll save it to the cloud then. So you find the location of where you want to store your backups. I create a separate backup folder and then click Save. If you want, you can add some information at the end of the file to indicate why you were doing it. I'll usually do something like pre-import and then click Save. Now you can choose whether or not you want to include attachments in the backup. Some people, like myself, tend to attach a lot of files, emails and documents, and that tends to make your database large. So you don't actually have to include the attachments because you can back up your attachment folder separately or through your system backup, and then you can re-put those back together later. And actually, if you're on XP, then or earlier, there's actually a 4 GB size of zipped files. So Windows 7 and later you can use larger files, but especially if you're on an XP system, then you're going to want to exclude the attachments in the backup. I'm going to go ahead and include them for this one. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Now this is the demo database, so the backup should go fairly quickly because it's a relatively small database. Your mileage may vary. Now, the last thing I want to show you is using the scheduler to automate this task for you. So it runs every day and you don't have to think about it. This should be run on the machine where the database is hosted. So for example, if you have a server where you have your database hosted, the scheduler should run on that machine. If you click on the Tools pull-down menu, go to Act Scheduler. You can click over here under the Schedule Tasks area to create a task. Go ahead and find your database. I'm going to go ahead and browse down to where the demo database that I'm using is located. And then click Open. Enter your user credentials. Again, you must be a manager or admin level user in order to run this task. And also note that if the user you're using to provide credentials for the database to run this backup scheduler automatically leaves the organization and you make that user inactive, be sure to go back in here to the scheduler and re-put in a new admin or manager level user. I've had a couple of clients get caught by that in the past, and backups weren't being done because they made the user that logged into the database to do the backups inactive. You can go ahead and click Next. And then from the task drop-down, go ahead and choose Database Backup. Then click Next. And you can choose where you want to store that backup. I usually create a backup file, and again, this can be in the cloud on a folder that syncs to the cloud, or in the My Documents, or somewhere else that you actually put it. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it where it is. Again, you can choose whether or not you want to include attachments, and you can also password protect the backup file. That's a little tricky though, because there is no way to recover that password. So if you need to restore that backup and you're not sure what the password is, you're going to be kind of out of luck there. And then in the next window, you can choose how many of the last files to keep. 5 is the default, and usually that's sufficient, particularly if you have some offsite backup storage that you're pulling nightly. 5 tends to be quite enough, although you can increase or decrease that. And then the last step is to do it daily. Every day, you can do it every weekday, Monday through Friday, or every one day if you have people that work on the weekends. And what I recommend is that you have the database backup run sometime after most people are logged out of the database, but before if you have another system backup that runs, before that backup runs, because then that big rich zip file from ACT will get caught up in that backup and be stored offsite as well. Go ahead and click Finish, and then you're good to go. The schedule will run automatically. Thanks for watching. We look forward to seeing you again. And in the meantime, if there's anything we can do, please feel free to reach out to us. Thanks.